Last week, a friend of mine fell for a phishing attack. Not a high flying CEO, this isn't one of those LinkedIn fables, just a perfectly competent adult trying to survive a Tuesday and left mortified and convinced that she'd be escorted from the building by security. And honestly, who can blame her? Every year, phishing drains hundreds of billions of dollars from global businesses. Not through elite cyber ninjas hammering away at their keyboards, but through something far more mundane: a single real time click. It's one of the most expensive problems in cybersecurity and works because it exploits the same mental shortcuts that help us get through the day. Phishing doesn't need to outsmart a firewall, it just needs to outrun a human brain that's perhaps juggling 12 things at once. A subject line with a hint of urgency, a sender address that looks close enough, and a request that feels routine are all tiny nudges that slip past our critical thinking long before we realize anything is amiss. And of course, everyone is vulnerable. The more overloaded or distracted or simply human we are, then the more likely we are to click. And just like my friend, the emotional fallout is immediate: a flush of embarrassment, a spike of panic, and a sudden conviction that you're the only one who's ever made this mistake. But the solution here isn't shame or blame, but designing systems, habits, and cultures that acknowledge how the mind actually works, not how we wish it did. Look, if an email looks as though it's come from your boss, do you stop and check the header metadata? Of course not. You're already late for a meeting, your presentation is half finished, and your coffee has gone cold. Authority bias is astonishingly reliable. It has been measured in countless experiments. We are, of course, social creatures after all, trained from childhood to respect hierarchy, even when that hierarchy turns out to be someone in a basement with a Gmail account. Then there's urgency. Your account will be suspended, your password has expired, all designed to hijack that rational part of our brain and replace it with pure, filtered panic. And of course, curiosity plays a part, which we're probably all a little guilty of. Let's face it, nothing triggers a dopamine hit faster than finding an attached file that we shouldn't really have access to. But the most powerful ingredient will always be distraction. Cyber training works beautifully when we're rested, hydrated, and paying attention. But real life is a blur of meetings, notifications, and half finished tasks. Attackers know this and they've evolved and getting smarter. Gone are the days of clumsy scams riddled with spelling mistakes and enthusiastic greetings. Today, attackers can now generate flawless, personalized messages at industrial scale, and that's largely thanks to AI. Think less Nigerian prince and more marketing department with no moral compass. Now, fortunately, defenders are evolving too. Modern SOC teams combine global threat intelligence, behavioral analytics, and AI driven detection into systems that learn continuously. They track attacker infrastructure across the internet, domains, servers, botnets, and then feed that intelligence into security engines capable of analyzing organizational behavior at astonishing depth. This could be determining who emails whom, at what times, and in what tone, helping AI build a behavioral fingerprint of their CEO, finance team, and suppliers, and then cross reference against millions of real world phishing attempts and automated to detect subtle linguistic tricks, emotional cues, and cleverly disguised links. Of course, none of this absolves us of responsibility. Technology is powerful, but the real strength comes from the partnership between people and technology. A SOC can't investigate what it never hears about, and no AI can compensate for a suspicious email quietly deleted out of embarrassment. And that's why we need to remove the stigma. Phishing isn't going away. It will keep evolving, adapting, and exploiting the instincts that make us collaborative, curious, and efficient. But with technology catching the subtle threats and people willing to speak up about the obvious ones, we can shift the balance. Not by pretending humans can be perfect, but by recognizing that our imperfections are predictable, manageable, and with the right culture, protectable.